Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos were greeted by a different kind of crowd on the Monday, January 26th episode of Live with Kelly and Mark. The couple started the week's first episode already seated at their desk, rather than dancing into the studio. The pair were still met with applause from the audience, to which Ripa joked, "That's loud for six of you." As it turns out, the ABC morning show had to cancel its usual live audience due to the weather in New York City. For ABC 7 New York, the tri-state area was hit with nearly 1.5 feet of snow over the weekend into Monday as winter storms continue to cause severe weather across the country. "We are audience-free today, with the exception of the people that already work here," Ripa said at the top of the episode. "Yay them. Yes, behold at the size of our staff. Gigantic. I like this. We haven't done this since COVID." Consuelos went on to read a weather report stating that Central Park had 11.4 inches of snowfall. "That's not that bad for us in a massive snowstorm." "We've had worse," Ripa remarked. Consuelos added that he shoveled the sidewalk area in front of their home yesterday, but was confused by how the snow behaved. "It was very dry. It didn't stick to the shovel, and when you kind of moved it, it would fly off," he explained. Ripa said she wanted to take over shoveling for Consuelos to get in her daily workout until he deterred her from the idea. "You told me it won't be satisfying for you. There's no workout in it." So then, once I heard that, I was like, "Oh, forget that," she stated. Ripa remained productive by cleaning out their home's cabinets, drawers, bookshelves, and more. While doing so, she discovered an envelope containing $200 in $20 bills from their son Michael, 28. "I guess he owed us money from something," Ripa said. Consuelos went on to quip, "It did say $200 of $300, so he owes us $100. The couple also share kids Lola, 24, and Joaquin, 22. Before heading to work on Monday, Consuelos said he listened to the radio to see if the school district they live in canceled school for the day. Ripa hoped that the show's lack of an audience would also mean they would get the day off, but was ultimately let down. The show cut to ABC 7's Phil Tate reporting live from Brooklyn. In the streets of Brooklyn, everyone is trying to just get up, out the house, and to start to dig out, he told Ripa and Consuelos before showing cars covered in snow and blocked in by snowbanks caused by snowplows. "New Yorkers are going to be New Yorking today, no matter what. I mean, that's the one thing," Ripa joked before telling Tate. "You know, Phil, I really want to get that guy that's shoveling gloves. He was glove-free, and he's wearing a hoodie." Tate returned to talk to a man shoveling snow outside the nonprofit organization Services for the Underserved (SUS), which provides a range of services to people in need. When asked about his missing gloves, the guy explained that he was using hand warmers in his pockets to keep warm. "Round of applause to you and the work that you're doing to make sure that this continues to go on," Tate told the man, who replied, "Thank you. I appreciate it." Ripa ended the segment by double-checking with show exec Mary and Fox that the man will be sent a new pair of gloves. Despite the lack of audience, the episode still featured guest appearances from actor Jason Biggs and director Leslie Iwerks. They woke to the hush that comes after a storm has spent itself, a kind of hush that muffles the city and makes even the loudest block feel private. Snow had fallen in a steady, insistent sheet through the night, folding the familiar angles of New York into soft white curves. Streetlights cast halos. The early morning sky was the color of pewter, and inside a brownstone somewhere in the city, a pair had begun their day as they always did, with a kind of small domestic choreography that can make national television seem like an afterthought. Kelly Ripa shrugged into a sweater, hair in a loose knot, and joked to an empty kitchen. "If it's up to me, we cancel the world." Mark Consuelos, who treated everything like it might be the prelude to an anecdote, had already stepped outside with a shovel in his hands. He was the one who never understood quiet mornings. He was the one who, when the world quieted, felt obliged to be the noise that pushed it back into order. He'd shoveled the sidewalk, he said later, not for exercise, though he would claim that, if only jokingly, but because there is a particular satisfaction in reclaiming a path. Very dry snow, he told Kelly over breakfast, a small grin tugging at his mouth. It didn't stick. It almost flew. I did a sweep and release. Atmospheric theater. Kelly laughed and eyed the envelope she'd just unearthed from the back of a cupboard, a crinkled, slightly creased envelope with a sticky seal that had surrendered its secret. Inside, folded like an apology, were 10 $20 bills, $200 by the math of the thing. She held them up like a revelation. Michael, she said, squinting at the handwriting. From Michael. Otis money. Mark, spoon already halfway to his mouth, peered over. It says $200 of $300. So he still owes us $100, he said, playful and precise. They were, in their own way, people of ritual. Morning coffee, a scan of the headlines, a walk through the rooms of their house to make sure the world had not done anything shocking in the hours since they'd last checked it. Television was the other ritual, a live, circular thing that once required an audience to complete it, the same way a stage needs an audience to breath. For the past few years, Live with Kelly and Mark had adapted, grown, and remade itself, but the show was still a beast happiest when it could feed on the electricity of a room full of people. Today, though, the beast would be fed a different sort of fuel, a small, determined group of staff members whose faces were as familiar as props and who were, like so many other New Yorkers, bent on being useful in a city that refuses to stop moving. They drove to the studio together because they always did. The city felt different through the windshield, like a painting that had been blurred intentionally at the edges. Cars were piled at curbs, snowbanks rose like anonymous sculptures, and the bus stopped twice the sigh. The studios. Marquee flashed its usual neon, though the foot traffic that usually hummed in the front had been reduced to individuals wrapped in parkas, stoic and deliberate. Inside, the stage lights were their usual bright selves, indifferent to weather. The green room smelled faintly of coffee and hairspray. It smelled like morning. When they walked in, the applause was modest but sincere. "That's loud for 6 of you," Kelly said, eyes widening with the showwoman's instinctual flair. The audience, small, hand-picked, mostly made up of the people who kept the show running, made up for their quantity with volume. Mark gave a little bow as they sat, as if the place were filled to capacity. "We are audience-free today," Kelly announced to no one in particular and to everyone who mattered, her voice carrying the half-smile of someone delivering an absurdity that would be laughed at later. "With exception of the people that already work here. Yay them. Yes, behold the size of our staff. Gigantic. I like this. We haven't done this since COVID." The remark landed quietly before the telephone lines and the production monitors took the stage. There were ripples of humor, then an affectionate, knowing silence. No one could say whether it was better to be nostalgic about those old pandemic days or relieved. Both feelings were true. The show opened not with the usual dance or the customary march into the studio, but with 2 people already in their chairs, mugs in hand, ready to begin. It gave the episode a different rhythm, quieter, not less joyful. For a program that thrived on banter and momentum, this was a slow burn kind of day. It allowed them room to be human. Mark read the weather report in a way that made it a story. Central Park, 11.4 inches, he intoned, like the father of a medieval town announcing the grain count. "That's not that bad for us in a massive snowstorm. We've had worse." Kelly, always quick with a comeback or with a domestic confession, admitted, "I thought this was my chance. I thought with no audience, maybe we'd get the day off." "We might be audience-free," Mark said, shrugging, "but we are not duty-free." She laughed. "We are live, no matter what," she said, and there was a fierce affection in it that felt like the thrum of the city outside.